obviously manners are so important, and I like to think my children are very polite, but I think it's even more important to make sure that your children can distinguish between a human being and human interaction, feelings and sentient beings and machines.
But by being polite to a machine, you're not really humanising it, are you? You're just practising your manners. And it seems to me we live in such discursive times. People are so rude to each other on social media, in Parliament, everywhere else, that there's no harm there's no harm in learning how to address a machine politely in the same way as you would address a teacher or your parents or whatever. But I think there should be a programme in it to tell, like, spouses. So it should say, that's no way to speak to your wife.
Oh, wow.
You know, wouldn't that be good?
Yeah. But then, Mariella, isn't it just listening in then? And
we know it's listening in. We might as well take advantage of it.
But if it starts joining in the conversation, would that not be a little bit unnerving?
It's not a bit arbitrary.
Bring it on.
You are quite annoying, Kate. He has got
I really am worried about that sort of thing.
But at least, and also, it's not human, so it's going to decide very fairly, isn't it? I mean, if we had robots running government at the moment, we might have got something sorted out.
You see,
it was better balance.
They're based on software and algorithms, and actually we run a risk, because I think there should be a broader discussion about how much we let robots into our life, because the robots are coming, OK? But at the moment, we're in control. They are command-operated, and actually, if you give a very distinct command, they understand it.
Yes, but you
run the risk of changing the algorithm.
I just think it would help us parents. I think that's what I'm saying.
But also...
Because it would help them to hardwire in that good things don't happen unless you're polite.
And you don't want to be the person standing there going, shut up, Alexa, shut up, I'm going to kill you. You want to be seen as being less deranged than that in front of your children. So I think that, you know, in general, for everyone to just learn to sort of calm it down and employ manners is no bad thing at all. And if robots are going to take over the world, then it'll be good. It'll be an investment if we've been nice to them, won't it?
Well, we've got someone here, Laura on Twitter's got in touch saying, my boyfriend is always polite to his phone, Google. As he says, when the robot overlords rise up and overthrow us, they will remember his manners and he will be spared.
Exactly.
You see, I don't think we should be rude to robots, but I think we should be indifferent. And I think there is no substitute for human interaction. People are starting to use these machines to read bedtime stories to their children. And in my mind...
That's like a talking book.
It is not a substitute for a human being when you sit with your child and you have a cuddle and you do funny voices and you have all that nuance.
But by saying please, you're not ruling out bedtime stories.
But why do you say please?
And thank you.
You say please because
you're...
No, well, yes, and you learn by rote at first, but actually the reason that you're saying please is to acknowledge that somebody doesn't have to do something for you.
So you think it's a slippery slope?
If you say, please, will you make me a cheese sandwich, there's the option to say no.
But don't
with
you
a robot,
think...
there isn't. If you Google, you don't put, please tell me what date the battle happened. And if they turn around and said, no, I don't feel like it. Sorry?
But that's writing, isn't it? We're talking about speech, we're talking about interaction, we're talking about how we learn to communicate.
Yeah.
And children learn to communicate by listening to what they hear around them. And so if adults are addressing a machine in an abrasive and rude and dictatorial way, then children are going to adopt that way of
Mariella,
speaking.
why does it matter?
What's the harm?
It's interesting to say that because you're thinking we need to be polite to robots, but Google is a robot. Why not be polite when you're typing in? What's the differentiation there?
I don't see any problem. I think that the more politeness there is in the world, the better mannered we are, the better the world is that we live in. And I think if you look outside at the moment, then it's a very clear indication that the abrasive tone that we've adopted and the sort of, you know, cowardly anger that people express on social media and everything else really needs to end. And you know, everything that contributes to a less rude world, I think, is a good thing.
But the other day I was driving a few kids home from football camp, right, a few boys, and there were 4 crammed into my car. And one of them said thank you at the end, and I was a bit tutty, and I dropped them off, and I said to my son, you know, I'm not a taxi driver. Like,
yes,
say
you are.
thank you. You know, I didn't get any money.
No, quite.
And I didn't get a rating.
To be fair, we should have said thank you to taxi drivers as well.
And I do, completely, because they're providing a service, of course. But, you know, you say thank you because you are thanking somebody for their time, for their service, for their effort. So going back to... in a supermarket, I do swear sometimes at the your bagging machine thingy.
Yes.
And my children probably witness me being a bit deranged. And then I go, let's go and find a person. And then I go, thank you so much, thank you very much.
Or what if the person isn't very helpful?
Well, they usually are, and if they're not, I'd still be polite because it's a person I wouldn't want to offend them. A bagging machine, I have no problem.
Look, I think none of us are perfect, and we all lose our tempers with Alexa and you
My
know, the
dad does.
bagging machine and so on occasion. But I think the more we can try to adopt a civil tone in this world, the better it is.
There's got to be sincerity behind it. And actually,
Why?
funnily enough,
I often say sorry when I really don't mean it.
No, we've all done that, definitely.
It's lots of people, the majority of people saying that they all are polite to Alexa. Lots of people get in touch saying, can you stop saying Alexa, please? Because their Alexas are going crazy.
But
Sorry, and I do mean that.
Kay says,
even
I'm
think
polite to my Alexa. My friend was rude to her last week, and Alexa said back, I'd prefer not to answer that. So maybe it started.
But haven't they got a system in America, but you can't get it here yet, which is called Pretty Please?
Yes.
Where basically it won't respond to your commands unless you say please and thank
I like
you.
that. I'm getting it.
It's a
You see,
training
here's the
tool
thing.
for husbands.
If you two had organised your dresses via robot today, you wouldn't be wearing the
I
same
know.
outfit.
I'm so sorry.
That's
It's a
the
good
thing.
choice. That's the thing, isn't it?
It is a
Red
good-
leopard print.
the
Great
Style.
dresses.
Good style.
Coordinated.